I think the biggest issue facing Rochester is obviously we have a lot of poverty in this city, which is extremely unfortunate. We definitely need to have better programs and ways of dealing with these. I don't believe that the poverty initiative has gone far enough to deal with these issues. Unfortunately, I think as long as the school district is performing very poorly, it's going to stop us from the potential that we have getting the city in the right direction, because there's going to be a lot of people who may want to live here or move here, who may decide otherwise for a job or to come home to family just based on the school system itself. Or we have an issue, I believe, in the East District, where you have people when their kids turn about 4 or 5, the house goes for sale and they move to the suburbs. I don't feel that the city does enough to ask the school district, what are we paying for? You know, city tax dollars go towards the school district every year that come from City Hall. I'm not writing a blank check. I would withhold funds, quite frankly, and they can take me to court if they have an issue. Taxpayers are fed up with paying for a school system that's consistently failing, and the city having to write a check as part of our property taxes as well, not even including our school taxes. I think that's very important for the city to say, hey, look, until we get a better plan of action, and maybe we're going to hold on to our money until we know exactly what you're going to do with it properly. I have been president of North of East Bay Neighbors United since 2011. I'm the vice chair of North Winton Village Association, which I'm proud to say is one of the hottest neighborhoods in the city of Rochester now. People are fighting each other to get into the neighborhood. And we still, and you know, there's definitely division even in our own neighborhoods. You know, our bigger issues in the East District are trying to get some houses up to code. You know, people not putting their garbage cans away, maybe some noise complaints. Other parts of the city have boarded up homes in extreme poverty. So we definitely have different views depending on where we live in the city. I want neighbors to be able to really have their ideas heard and listened to. I think that City Hall has gotten away and City Council has gotten away from really being the advocate for the neighbor, and they pretty much like to do what they want to do on many different levels. I also think that trying to pick out people from different areas and say, hey, what's important to you? What would you like to see in your neighborhood? I think we got to take it back down to the basics. You know, sometimes you can't always do everything for a city as a whole immediately, but one street at a time, you can listen to people and understand what their concerns are. Is there drug dealers on the corner? Is there a house that is blighted? Is there too much noise? Do I just simply want flower pots on my street? You know, there's so many different what ifs. But I think just working one street at a time and listening neighbor to neighbor and really being an advocate for neighbors, I think is absolutely imperative. People have to understand that we're not always going to be happy. You know, we sometimes have to understand there's a difference between being extremely uncomfortable and not happy. I'll give an example, and it's not a very popular one. We talk about the Police Accountability Board. We have people who are for it. We have people who are against it. It has gotten nasty, and I think a lot of people have to understand there needs to be compromise. I'm all about compromise. I'll be the first one to be honest that I have a lot of concerns and questions about the Accountability Board, not in the fact of that I don't believe that neighbors have a right to feel safe. I think neighbors have a right to feel comfortable, but I also believe that I would say the majority of our police department has the best intentions as well when they go to work every day. Obviously, you can have that bad person in the office, you know, like anywhere else, and you have to deal with them and remove them. And I do think that the police department needs to get ahead of the game and come out ahead if there's a problem and deal with the person. But at the same point, I also feel that the police need to feel comfortable being able to do a job as well that they were hired for. Obviously, there's a lot of people running. Everyone has their strengths, everyone has their weaknesses. What I think I bring to the table is I have been a volunteer. I have not been paid a penny to work to improve my city for many years, a decade now. I've been doing this. I created a neighborhood group, North of East Bay Neighbors United, for people who were under duress because there was many break-ins in the area. Our whole group, basically our board, everything we had in common was everybody had a break-in. And we said enough's enough, we're taking our neighborhood back. Over time, people once they started paying attention, could have a better sense of what's there and what's not there. Even people who would cut through the streets, if you really pay attention real well, they've probably cut the street through that same street 20 times. And a lot of people are habit type of people. So you really get to know who you see, who you don't see. Is there a car with its lights off running for an hour in front of a house in the middle of the night? You really start looking for bigger signs of things that, basically, if your heart doesn't sit right, there's a decent chance there's an issue. Now we're one of the safest neighborhoods in the city because neighbors came together and bonded.